Hello, my name is Dr. Meghna Dassani, and I am a general dentist. Today, I wanted to touch upon our Healthy Sleep initiative that we are launching to help our kids sleep better, breathe better, and learn better. As I mentioned earlier, I am a general dentist and I have been practicing dentistry for over 2 decades. A huge focus of my practice is identifying and treating sleep issues, sleep disordered breathing, pediatric sleep apnea in our children, in the pediatric population. And a huge focus of my work is also to help educate my fellow dental professionals, along with the parents and schools, about this huge issue that nobody seems to have too much knowledge about, and what we can do to address it and how we can help our kids. So the first question that I get asked is, what is sleep disordered breathing? This can range from loud, frequent snoring in our kids, or even audible breathing, heavy breathing when they're asleep, all the way to obstructive sleep apnea. About 10% of kids snore, and between 1 to 6% of children have obstructive sleep apnea. Obstructive sleep apnea is when a person, a child in this case, stops breathing for 10 seconds or longer and multiple times throughout the night. So how can you, as a parent, as an educator, just as somebody that has a child in their lives, what is the way that we can actually evaluate or even figure out that this might be a problem, right? So I like to split it up into daytime and nighttime challenges. Daytime challenges for kids, typically what I see as a parent, as an educator, this is what I would encourage you to look for, is mood swings in a child. A child that is a bear to wake up in the morning, has a hard time getting out of bed, has a hard time getting going. A child that has difficulty focusing, concentrating at school, maybe even falls asleep during the day. A child that maybe has speech impediments, has the signs and symptoms, or maybe even has been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. And a child that has a hard time controlling what and how much they're eating, so overeating. These are some of the daytime challenges that we might notice in kids that maybe aren't getting the amount and the quality of sleep that they need. What does this look like in a child at nighttime? What are those nighttime challenges going to look like? This is, believe it or not, a kid that can have trouble falling asleep and have trouble staying asleep. This could be a child that is a mouth breather, that snores, that sleepwalks, sleep talking, has night terrors, and could also be a child that still wets their bed. And we're not talking about a 2-year-old that is regressing potty training. This applies to a child that has stayed dry previously and is now starting to wet the bed. How does sleep disordered breathing and sleep apnea get diagnosed? 2 very important things: a screening and evaluation by your child's or that child's doctors. Sometimes a sleep study might be indicated. What are the risk factors for sleep disordered breathing and obstructive sleep apnea? Believe it or not, genetics is a big one. Obesity plays a huge role as well for kids or adults. If you have a child that's a mouth breather, we also need to make sure, again, as when the child goes to the dentist, looking at the shape of the palate, what does the roof of the mouth look like? Do they have a tongue tie? Is there a family history of sleep apnea? Are there any growth and developmental conditions that might be contributing to this? Was this a child that had low birth weight when they were born? And then, of course, there's medical conditions that come into play. It puts these kids at a higher risk but there's also a reciprocal relationship to congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, diabetes, higher risk for early onset Alzheimer's. Asthma is another huge one. So we want to make sure all of this is being addressed, evaluated, just so we know we are helping our kids get to better quality sleep. Now, there are numerous treatment options that exist to help these kids get to healthier sleep. Based on what is going on with the child, these could change. But some of the more common treatment options are expanding the palate, impacting growth and development, the direction of growth for a child. If the child has a tongue tie, maybe that needs to be released. Sometimes removing the tonsils and adenoids might be what's needed. This is why it is so important for these children to have the screening, the evaluation with the right doctors, with their pediatrician, with the ENT, yes, even their dentist, to know what is the right direction for treatment for these kids. Do they even need any help? Ask parents, what can parents do to help? Make sure there's early screening and intervention. Ask your doctors about this. Early bedtime, making sure kids are going to bed at time and waking up on time, the same time every day, helps a great deal. A healthy diet, exercise plays a huge role in these kids. Limiting exposure to secondhand smoke, limiting pets, other allergens, if that is what is contributing to all of this, can also help the children. Healthy sleep means healthy kids. We want our kids to have not just enough hours of sleep, but also good quality sleep. You can learn more about this on my website, meghnadassani.com, or on the office website, dassanidentistry.com. Your child deserves the sleep that is going to help them heal, that is going to help them be the best version of themselves. These children, our kids, are our future. And it's up to us to make sure they are getting the best quality sleep they can get.